Hello and welcome to the class summary video for So You Can Do an Anti-Spin Flower Now What? Anti-spin flowers are a wonderful move. They are a building block of a huge number of interesting things. But the problem I've found is you learn an anti-spin flower and then you sit there going, well, I've got this really cool move, but I'm not quite sure what to do with my other hand, and there aren't any really obvious moves that you can just go do with your cool new move. So that's still true, but let's talk about some of the easiest ones and some of the next ones and where you can go from here. So I'm going to assume that everyone here can do an anti-spin flower with 4 petals. 3 petals are cool too. A lot of people do those ones. I'm going to focus on the 4s here because I find they yield a lot of interesting transitions. So when I say do a 4-petal anti-spin, I mean with the petals in the same place each time around. So I've got a petal at each side, one at the top and bottom. There's other ways to do it, but that's what I'm going to be focusing on. If you can't do this, a couple useful tips. Many people, you probably will have heard already that when you're doing an anti-spin flower, the number of beats is 1 fewer than the number of petals. So I've got beat, 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 where beat is the point when the poi is down. So the poi is down, poi is down, poi is down. I'm feeling these 3 beats, and these 2 are feeling way out at the side, and this one down in the middle. So boom, boom, boom. If you don't feel that, then you probably don't have your petals in the right place, so you should try to clean them up. A good way to clean this, and this I'll come back to this technique in the context of harder moves in a minute, is pick a petal, turn it into a lockout, and then do a single petal to get to 2 petals later. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go from this petal over here to that petal over there with a single petal at the top, which is kind of like a screwed up up stall. So almost stall, this petal. Almost down stall, this petal. Almost up stall, this petal. Almost down stall, this petal. Likewise, I can do almost side stall, this petal. Almost side stall, this petal. Being able to do that lets you sort of realize that, oh, when I do this petal, I'm overshooting and coming off in the wrong place, and that's throwing off the rest of my flower. It lets you isolate the bits and just clean it up a bunch. Also, watch your planes. Especially this petal back here is going to drift out of plane like crazy. You just got to watch it. Practice near a wall. Use a mirror. Use a mirror. Face with the mirror over here so you can see the plane of your flower. All of that advice is going to apply to any flower combination you ever do, everything in the rest of this class, and everything related to any of this. So, some of the basic things you can do with these flowers is just do these flowers with both hands. You now need to be able to do it with both hands, and soon you'll need to do them in both directions. Funny how that always works out that way. So, in the same way that when I'm spinning my poi, I can do 4 different timing and direction combinations. I can do same time, same direction, split time, same direction. I can do same time, opposite direction, and split time, opposite direction. The same is going to be true of flowers. I can do same time, same direction. I can do split time, opposite direction. I'm doing this in a weird order apparently. I can do same time, opposite direction. And I can do, we'll discuss how to transition smoothly between these later, split time, opposite direction. That last thing I'll talk about in a minute. So we're going to step slowly through each of those 4 patterns and discuss how to do them, how to practice them. They all take a while to learn. How to clean them, and then how to turn with them, and how to transition between them. This really will be the arc of what we cover. Let's start with same time, same direction. So I'm doing same time, same direction. So, things that are not obvious about this. I am actually a lot of people will do this move with shortened poi like this. Nothing wrong with that, and it's very easy, because really then it's just what it looks like. If you watch what I'm doing here though, I've actually got my poi are in front of each other. This one is in my front plane, and this one's sort of in a buzzsaw kind of plane. And then as I do the top pedal, I'm now in this sort of half buzzsaw thing on the other side. So I'm doing sort of a thread the needle thing. This allows me to get my paths much closer together, so it looks cleaner. It also makes it later when we start talking about turning, having them both on the same side of you in that way makes it much easier to turn with it. So, again, to practice that, it's very good to do this. Take a pedal, or take a lockout, pass through one pedal, take another lockout. That lets you practice this little thread the needle bit of it, and it's a good thing to do. What else was I going to say about this one? Another thing to note is I am mostly in wall plane here. Wall plane, wheel plane. So mostly my poi are in front of me, but actually, if you look, you could also argue that I've gone into sort of wheel plane. I've turned horizontal to this camera, and then I turned through facing the camera to being horizontal in the other way. So I'm actually turning my body almost 180 degrees over the course of this pattern. This gives you a lot more freedom to clean up the interactions between your poi. It will make things much easier when you want to turn with it later, which we will get to, I promise. And just generally makes it cleaner, makes it easier, and gives you some building blocks that you will absolutely need for when we get to later moves. So, let's move on to same time, opposite direction. You will note that I have moved to wheel plane now, or rather, I am wheel plane in the middle. Now I'm kind of facing the camera. Now I'm kind of facing away from the camera, and so again, my body, as it will in each of these patterns, is turning 180 degrees, even though I'm not moving my feet. A way to make sure to think about whether you're doing this turn is think about what your belly button's doing. My belly button's facing this way, my belly button's facing that way. When I was doing this pattern, my belly button's facing this way, my belly button's facing this way. So, it's probably a good idea before you try this one with poi to do it without poi. So, I'm standing here, my hands are at my sides, they come out, my belly button turns 90 degrees, so other than my feet, I am currently now facing the camera. My hands come above me, I'm now back facing where I was. My hands go the other way, I'm facing away. So I'm doing this. Should feel kind of silly, you should feel like you're doing Tai Chi. Do it. It's really valuable. If you can't do this cleanly, you will never get your flower clean. Likewise, for this move we just did, it's really worth doing this. So, again, you'll want to feel those 3 for 4 beats. So I've got a beat at the bottom, I've got a beat when my hands are out, I've got a beat on the other side, but no beat across the top. That top pedal does not have a beat to it, because there's no point between this pedal and this pedal that my poi is facing downwards. So I should feel beat, 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 beat. Again, all those tricks we were talking about picking any two pedals and then transitioning. What did I just do? That's in the wrong timing direction. Any two pedals and going to the next one is really quite valuable. It lets you figure out where things are going wrong. Also, mirrors are always useful. Alright, let us go on to a very popular one, which is split time, same direction. So, note before I start that I am in fact in split time, same direction. If I'm in some other timing direction combination with my poi, no matter what my arms do, you're going to get not what you intended. And so then again, I'm again thinking about my belly button facing. Note again that I'm turning almost 180 degrees in the course of this. Posture is important, shoulders back. The important thing about that move that is different from any of the ones I've done so far is because it's a split time move, these 3 for 4 beats aren't very useful. So when I was doing this move, I'd feel these 3 beats: beat, 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 and that's all well and good because those down beats pull really hard and you can feel them. But when I'm doing this one, those are split, and counting through those 6 beats through this thing is just not going to be very helpful to you. So you actually want to time this differently. What you want to do is, at the point of each of your pedals, there's sort of this moment where the poi is kind of pulling gently outward. And you want to feel for that. And that's what you want to time. So instead of my thinking down, 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 which is what I'd have to do if I was playing in down beats, I'm feeling more out beats. So out, 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 out. So I'm feeling them pull up, down, and I'm feeling them pull out. When we get to this one, it'll be the same thing. I'm feeling out, and I'm feeling up and down. And so in both of those cases, you should feel the two poi being pulled outwards at the same time, and they should feel like they're in the right position. If you feel something pulling diagonally up, you're probably or diagonally down, you're probably doing something wrong. So I sort of skipped ahead. Split time opposite. You've got a split time opposite going here, so they should be sideways at the same time, and you're doing this. So this kind of combines that counting in pedals. Might be close to the camera. That counting in pedals thing we were doing in the same time. Sorry, split time, same direction. So I'm feeling this there. So I feel this pedal on the side, and I feel the up down as timing points. And it combines that with that thread the needle thing we had from same time, same direction. So I'm here. Notice I'm in this sort of half buzzsaw. One boy's in front plane, one's in buzzsaw. And I go through here, and they switched. Another important thing with this one is think about the hand positions. And again, do this without poi. Position, 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 position. Notice I'm turning. Notice my hands are in a circle. And notice this position is here. It isn't here. So that I go from here to the poi are directly above and below each other along my center line. If I do the move like this, even though I get this nice big circle, my pedals are going to be stretched and my timing's going to be off, and it's just never going to look clean. So you really want to actually be sure that you feel pull here, pull here, pull here. This is these end of pedal pulls that you're feeling. And still try to make it as big and circular as you can, of course. But you really want to hit that center line for it to look clean. Alright, turning. How to turn while doing a flower. First of all, practice it with one poi. It's hard, take your time, don't expect it to come immediately. Alright, so, in most of these moves, I'm turning 90 degrees. So right now, I'm facing here, I'm facing, I'm sort of turning from facing next to the camera to facing the camera. When I'm facing the camera, I can just sort of continue around and be here. That wasn't very helpful. So, in this, you've got these four pedals, two on the side, one on the top and bottom. When you're at a side pedal, that is the point when you can turn. So, I'm out here. I could also be out here, which is really another pedal of this one. So, as I turn through this flat plane, right now I'm spinning counterclockwise. My poi is my hands going clockwise because it's an anti-spin. When I go out to this outside pedal, I now just sort of let it pass through my body, and now I'm spinning clockwise, not counterclockwise. So, as with all turning moves, when you turn, your direction changes. And so the key points are turn on the outward pedal, and when you get across to the poi that is to the flower that is behind you, note that you're now spinning the opposite direction. This is, of course, because the poi is still doing the same thing, and you are just walking through it. Let's see. Another thing to think about is when to break your plane. So this is all happening in a flat plane. I'm going to want, as I go through this pedal out there, to have crossed the poi to behind my body, and my body will turn around so that becomes in front. When there is a point where I'm going to need to pull it out of this plane so that it can get behind me. That point, given that I'm spinning on the upwards traveling outward pedal, is when I leave here. So I'm in plane, break plane, return to plane. Break plane, return to plane. So at the top or bottom pedal, whichever one is about to head into your side pedal, when you get to that pedal, now you can see how not clean my planes are. When you hit there, you sort of pull it out so that you're now in a helical path that So what's going on is it comes down into this bottom pedal. As it's traveling through this pedal, it starts to traverse behind me. And so it kind of corkscrews up to this point, at which point I kind of tug it back into plane and it can just continue around doing what it was doing beforehand, but having been translated by a couple feet by that spiral. So let's talk about this in the context of a couple moves. Or all four of the moves, the ones we've been doing. So if I want to turn with this, it's the easiest one to turn with. Remember that my hands are doing this crossing thing, so while I'm over here, I can really be facing this way because my hands can be totally lined up. If they cross across my hands, then they're this way. And oh look, if I face away, now I can do the same move in reverse. Again, I have to think about where I'm braking my plane, so brake, retain, brake, regain. So I'm braking as I enter the side pedal, so when I hit the top or bottom pedal before the side, and then I'm restoring the plane when I hit the next top or bottom pedal. So let's move on to another one. Oh, and so to think about what your body's doing, my hand's going in a big circle, and I'm turning 180 degrees in this circle, as I'm making a circle. When my belly button's facing to the side, I move my foot, and my belly button's still facing to the side, but it's now as part of this move that's also doing that same belly button turn. So, see? Your belly button's already turning to face sideways. You're just letting it continue around. So the body movement is just a matter of adjusting your legs, not a matter of changing your body, because your body's already changing. Alright. So if we do the same time opposites, note my body's already turning. I'm facing the camera here, I'm facing away there. I merely follow through that. So the concept is exactly the same. When my hands are out, at this point they're on different sides, they cross and they continue. So I'm here facing to this side, facing towards the camera, facing away, facing towards. Oh, and look, I've just continued to cross. Oh, continue to cross. It gets a little trickier when you start playing with the split time moves, because you have to keep feeling those pedal pulls. If you were watching closely, I just screwed that up. But what ends up happening is when your hands are out to the side, you're still free to continue across. With this one, you have one coming off of the top pedal while the other's coming off of the bottom pedal, so I have to break off the top, break off the bottom, so I'm plane braking, so that I'm here, and I return to my plane at top and bottom again. Same is true, just to finish it off, same is true of split time opposite. Anyway, so again, when your hands are out to the side, when they're up and down, you break your plane, hands go to the side, body follows through, come back apart, re-enter the plane when you get to the back. Alright, a couple little notes. So, we've had a couple of patterns where I'm mostly in wall plane, and then a couple where I'm mostly in wheel plane. That's largely a matter of if you just follow through where your hands would end up if you weren't in that plane, it gets hard. So for instance, if I'm trying to do this one, if I try to do it in wheel plane, I somehow, I can't get my arms back there. Some of them it's actually a little less strictly necessary. For instance, if you're doing the same time opposite direction, you in fact can do this motion. I'm not a huge fan of it, but some people make it look good. There's also a couple standard cheats. So likewise, if I'm doing this one, I could go here, but eventually I reach this point and you gotta do something. There's a bunch of weird float variants and all sorts of things people do, or they'll, yeah, whatever. What I like to do if I wanna move the, either of those to the split time same direction or the same time opposite direction into the wall plane, what I do is I cut one petal off. So I'm taking this 4-petal flower and I cut off this petal. So now I've got a sort of lopsided 3-petal flower. You'll note that I'm not putting petal, you know, I'm not doing an actual proper triquetra. It's stretched to but my petals are still at the top and the bottom, so that they match up with when I want to turn. So if I do that with both hands at once, I get this pattern, which you've probably seen people do. It's actually just the same, and a simple turn will take you between them, which is kind of a cool move. And you can do the same thing for same time opposite. It's actually pretty easy. Well, I say it's easy and then I screw it up. Anyway, those work. There's something, especially as you start turning, you can play with. All right, let's talk about 0 points. So I talked about how at the end of each pedal you feel a little bit of a tug. That's because an anti-spin pedal is a heck of a lot like a stall. And in fact, you can take any anti-spin pedal tip and turn it into a stall point. Now, these are what we call 0 points. Now, this is really cool for a number of reasons. First of all, it lets you transition between these various patterns. So, for instance, if I'm, let's say I'm doing this one, which is the wall plane variant of split time, same direction, I did a little cheat there, but I can from the top and bottom pedals, I stall one and I let the other one continue, and suddenly I am in another pattern. Another one's very useful is, so I'm in same time, same direction. Oops, stall one of them. Sorry, I didn't turn with that. But I stall one of them, and now I'm in same time opposite direction. And you can do a nice little chaining through of that where you just switch direction at each time you're at the top. You get a cool little pattern. But the important thing that's going on is one of them is continuing through while the other is changing at one of the points. And you can find your way between all the different timing direction pairs if you do that. The other cool thing, which you saw me do because I fudged a little bit, is in any of these patterns I can change direction in the middle by just stalling both of them at once. Stall both of them and suddenly you're going the other direction. And from that you can make all these stall patterns, the most famous one being this, which is I'm just doing that wall plane, one petal cut off trick, and I'm stalling each top and bottom. It's a little harder to do it with the wheel plane ones, but you totally can. Another useful thing, once you are doing direction change stalls at any pedal, you can use that to clean a pedal. So if you're doing a pattern and there's a pedal pair that you're unsure of, then try changing direction at that point. It's actually a lot harder to change direction at the point than it is to do the pattern, as I just demonstrated, but the exercise of trying to get that as a stall pattern will help you clean up your flowers. One other useful thing for learning to do all these 0 point stalls, I like to just sort of work my way around the circle going forwards and backwards. I tend to go forward 3, back 2 because that works. It just works well for me. But so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And when you flub a stall like I seem to be flubbing this up stall today, you can continue backwards and do it again. But anyway, just the important part was you can just sort of go back and forth around your 4 pedals, stalling here and there to force yourself to get them all clean, and pay attention. Like I noticed that my up stall today has gotten rusty, so I will have to practice that. It's worth looking at that. This is one thing I think I just drove home very well is this is an ongoing thing that you need to keep practicing, because it's harder than it looks to really get clean. And so the important thing is to know how to practice it so that you can find out when something's not clean and figure out how to fix it. That's what I got.